Hey there, Yogi. I'm gonna wait for the computer to do its thing, and it will be live in a moment. There we are. Hi, everyone. Hi. Welcome to day 4 of our daily practice challenge. I don't know about you, but I can't believe we're already here. It feels like I blinked and the week is nearly over. And I hope that you are enjoying showing up and moving your body every day as much as I have enjoyed being able to show up and be here every day as well. Um, for me, daily practice is this kind of transformative experience. And actually, it's typically around day like 5 to 8 when I really start to see changes happening in my body. So if you are in your day 4 and you are enjoying this or you're curious about this and you'd like to keep going, I can't stress enough, just do the whole thing over again, or maybe repeat a couple of the classes that you've done this week that have been enjoyable to you, and just notice what can shift for you and what can change as you continue to show up every day on your mat. So with that, I've got my now newly fresh haircut, a lot less crazy today, and I'm so happy to be here and have a conversation about your home practice space. Now, this is a super hot topic in the world and the realm of practicing at home. I think so much of our own stuff can get in the way of us being able to show up on the mat and to be present and distraction free and available to listen to a class, to be able to move your body with the class, to be able to be in the space of doing the practice. And as much as you can, being in the practice without the judgments and the pulls in different directions that we all face when we are at home in our home space. So, with that, I wanted to start with a few deep breaths and then we'll get into our conversation today. So, you can take a big breath in and let it out. And if you can, begin to bring your breath into like your ribs, feel your ribs expand, and maybe even bring your breath into your belly, allowing your belly to expand. Let's do 3 more breaths. Just allowing it to be at your own pace. Last one. Awesome. So today we're talking about your home practice space. So maybe close your eyes for a moment. Let's continue in this uh, more connected space. And I want you to take a moment to imagine um, what your home practice space looks like. Maybe you're in it right now, maybe you're not. And kind of like do a visual memory tour of where you put your yoga mat in relation to the other things in the room. And maybe take a moment to kind of inventory, like how much space is there around the mat? Can you stretch your arms out to the sides? Can you physically move without hitting an obstruction? And just generally, how do you feel when you're in that space? And so it's this mental, emotional inventory that we begin to take. You can keep your eyes closed and really just kind of think into your space as I kind of guide you a little bit here. But as you're thinking into your practice space and you're thinking into the space that you typically roll out your yoga mat, how do you feel when you're in that room in general? What are the feelings that come up often when you're in that room? Are they general feelings of anxiousness? Are they general feelings of relaxation? Maybe feelings of gathering and community, maybe a quiet, peaceful space. So just becoming aware of like, what's the energy in the room apart from yoga, just in general? Is it your bedroom? And what are your feelings and kind of like emotional, what's the energy around being in your bedroom as you enter into the space? And I think so often this can be really important, this idea of like, how do you typically feel in the space? Because really often we can be drawn to being in a room or in a circumstance where the room is fine, the space is fine, we enjoy being in the space. Um, but when we start to roll out the yoga mat or do a routine or try to breathe or meditate, the feelings and the sensations shift. And maybe they shift because the room's not like the most ideal for the practice. Again, an idea. Maybe you feel as though the room is not ideal for your practice. Maybe it has a lot less to do with the room itself or the space itself, and maybe it has more to do with just the idea of like how hard it is to do this on your own. And I think that that's like a really important distinction to make because for me, I have a few places that I really love to roll out my yoga mat. They're not always available to me, either because the weather isn't right. I love being on my front porch. The weather's not always ideal for that. I also love being in my family room, but sometimes there's other people in that room. Sometimes the television is on, and that really changes the energy of the space. And sometimes I like to be more in my office space. And those are kind of the spaces where I typically gravitate to. Each one has a very different energy. I notice that if I can get into my family room, I am definitely more present. I have a more potent, more lovely experience, second only to being on my porch, which again requires this like ideal climate situation that's really limited for most of the year. But there's a couple other spaces in my house that I really enjoy being in, and I never really think to practice there. And I'll tell you, we recently did some work on our house, and um, our the kids have new bedrooms. And I really love being in those two bedrooms. I've spent a lot of time thinking about the design and the color. We got new rugs and really you know, brought the space into like this really lovely, it has a lovely energy to it. Um, if I think of it and if I'm kind of like feeling really distracted, I actually love going up to my kids' rooms. One, because right now, anyway, the kids keep them really neat and clean. And two, when they're at school and they're gone, there's nothing in that room that reminds me of a chore, that could pull me out just for a second to grab something. I can be in either of those rooms and like it's like I'm in a different space. It's as if I'm in the studio, but just different because it's my house still. Sometimes there's a lot of stuff scattered on the floor and then it doesn't feel peaceful. But in the times when I remember to go up there and I think, I'm having some challenges showing up downstairs, right? In our downstairs space where there can be a lot of people and activity and screens and loud, conference calls and all that. And I can get upstairs, it really does feel like I'm getting away. So I'll even go into our bedroom, right? And we have this one spot, which is just like half my mat is on a rug, half my mat is on the wood floor. Honestly, I should just move the rug because I really love practicing up there as well. When I'm doing more of an adaptive class, like with Heather, or when I'm doing a restorative class, I'll go up there for sure, like, not even a question. If I want to be left alone, I know that I can go up there and I will have a practice space that is where I will not be bothered. I can also lock the door and then no one can come in to disturb me. Um, so I'm giving you kind of like all the different places where I practice in my house because I think very often we can think, oh, I need to be in this one place. I need to have nothing else in there. It needs to be this, 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 this. And really, when you can tap into something deeper, like what is the energy of the space that you're in? How do you feel when you're in that space outside of practicing? And what is it that you're trying to cultivate in that moment, in that particular practice? Sometimes we come to the mat because we're just getting our routine in. So matters a little bit less kind of where we are. But if we're struggling to show up, or if we're really having difficulty with distractions, what are the other places in your house where you can roll out a mat or just get on the rug or get on the wood floor and just move your body? And I think when we can take out the what it needs to look like, what it needs to be, and we can take out our own judgments about how it should be set up, how it should look, why you should have your own, I don't know, special yoga room. Um, that's not real, by the way. But anyway, wouldn't that be nice though? Then we can really get into, you know, what are you trying to cultivate in the space of the practice? And then you can really start to find more of an ideal practice space for you. And so your homework today is going to be really simple and it might take you a few minutes, but your homework today is to go into every room in your house and to sit down and to notice how you feel when you're in that space. What are the feelings that come up for you? What are the energies that you're working with? Do you feel like when you're in that space, you have to do different things? Do you feel that when you're in that space, you have responsibilities that would pull you out? Do you feel when you're in that space, like you have this, I don't know, um, more comforting feeling? Do you feel like when you're in this space, it's a little bit smaller? Do you feel like when you're in that space, it feels expansive? These are the questions that we want to be asking because very often what we want to feel and the rooms and energies that we're in don't always align. And if we can become more aware of like, what am I after? If I'm, am I feeling a little claustrophobic? Am I feeling a little like closed in on? Or opposite, am I feeling really exposed? Am I feeling really like, gosh, there's just too much room in this space? I feel that way. I'll tell you, um, I really like being in tucked away small spaces to practice. It's different for all of us, but for me, I like spaces so small, and this is such a funny thing, but I like spaces so small that, like, it's hard for me to actually do the whole practice without bumping into a piece of furniture. And I think I like that a lot because for me, I feel like smaller. I feel like no one's can see me. I feel like I can kind of be in my own like private little tucked away space. When there is no one in my house, you would be surprised to know, maybe, that I will go into a tight little corner to practice. It's not that I go into the big room with all the space to, like do my thing sometimes, but a lot of times I find that I really want to be in a small tucked away space because it's comforting. And because I feel like, oh, you know what? If I can't do that balance pose, it's because the space isn't right. Or, oh, guess I have to put my hand on a bookshelf to help me with this balance pose. Or I really like working with the environment around me to use it as props and support. And I think maybe that, it's different for everyone. If you really want to like move your body a lot and turn up a lot of fire, you probably want a little bit more space. If your house is, has a lot of traffic happening or a lot of people, it's noise, ambient noise from your other home occupants, then you probably want to find a space that where you can be a little bit more alone. Or maybe you don't, right? And this is important to know. Sometimes we like being in spaces that are occupied by other people, and sometimes we like being a little bit crowded. Um, you really get to dive into what you're looking for and what works for you when you start to open up to all the possibilities available. And so again, your homework today is to go into every room in your house, go into even the outdoor spaces. We're moving into the summer months, going into the outdoor spaces, your porches, your decks, your backyards, your driveways, your side yards, your front gardens, like you go all around and really like take a moment to sit down, close your eyes, take 5 to 10 breaths, and kind of just tap into like, what is the energy I usually feel when I'm in this space? How does this space make me feel? and then come back and report to us. And I would love to know if you discover that there's a space in your home where maybe you have this like good energy and you want to give it a try. And then from there, you can grab a tablet, a device, a phone, and you can bring it there and do your daily practice. All of our practices are very smartphone friendly for this challenge, especially. You can watch them all on YouTube. You can get them on Facebook. So, any device where you have Facebook or YouTube, you can do the challenge there. So, with that, I think that's everything that we had today. I would love to hear how this goes for you. I would love to hear if you discover anything new. For me, we have I have practice space. There's only like one room in the house where I really don't want to practice, and that's the kitchen because like I'm in there already so much. Other than that, I will pretty much practice anywhere. And sometimes I really enjoy kind of breaking the rules about what the space should be, how it should be set up. And I love getting into a space where I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go practice in my daughter's room today. Or, it's feeling a little gloomy. I'm gonna go hang out in my son's room. It's like this nice deep blue color, and that makes me feel really nice on a rainy day. Or, um, I'm feeling really like claustrophobic with everyone, so I'm gonna go into a bigger space where I can really feel myself expand and open up. So all of these options are available to you, and it really has far more to do with the energy that you are looking to cultivate, the energy that you're working with, and a lot less to do with what the space actually is or functions or looks like. I think that's so important to understand. Like we as yoga teachers, I'm practicing in a very large, completely empty room. Most of us do not have that in our homes. Our homes are places where we live and exist, and there are couches and footstools and bookcases and desks and tables and chairs and knowing that your space is going to be a little dynamic. Maybe you're a person that likes stuff. I happen to be a person that likes stuff too, although in the last year, as we've been home a lot, I have been getting rid of all the things. But I have friends who were so committed to making their practice space important to them. They got rid of their dining room table. They do not have a dining room table. They got rid of it. They put it in storage. They threw it in the garage. And now their entire dining room is just a place filled with plants and open space and a comfy chair and a big area to roll out their mats. I think when we are able to really get into like, what do I want most? And be willing to answer the question, we might discover that there's a lot more possibility if we're willing to work outside the rules, right? The structures that we've been living with. I want to give you one more example, and that is, if you got a really expensive treadmill or a really expensive bike or rowing machine at your house, you would probably move your home living space around so that you could use that more, right? It's an expensive piece of equipment. You invested in it. You're going to want a space where you can really use it and enjoy it. Your yoga mat is no different. It doesn't have to be, a $2,000 piece of equipment for it to have a lot of value and be something that is important to move your space around to fit. The beauty is that after you're done with your mat, you can roll it up and put it away. So you don't have to live in that, or you can leave it out. I honestly really like leaving it out, except my dog likes to lay on it and then I have little furs all over it after. So I do end up rolling it out, but I love like when I can leave my mat rolled out and just crawl right onto it whenever I want. So um, you know, when you can see the value, and this is really what I'm getting at, when you can see the value of what occurs on the yoga mat, then you can start to treat it like an expensive piece of equipment. And you can start to treat it like a really profound and amazing, opportunity to dive in. And when it has this higher value, when it has this more potent purpose in your life, then suddenly any blocks that come out about perfect, not perfect, doesn't work, it works, they do kind of melt away. Um, so anyway, I look forward to hearing feedback, hearing what your space is like and where you are going to discover, what works for you in your home. So be well. I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to hearing from you. Be well, everyone. Bye.